Given that Sri Lanka is in this kind of like weird state where the swings between governments are very extreme. It's going to be very difficult to, Mr. Fernando's job at the SOA restructuring unit is going to be all the more difficult because you're not going to attract investors, because people are not going to want to invest for, 2, 3, 4 years. They'll be thinking 10, maybe 20, maybe 30 years, right? How do we get around this?
So that is one of the biggest challenges of the IMF program, because it is a 4-year program, but then the targets are 10 years, up to 2032. So we are going to have 2 presidential elections, 2 general elections. So I say, of all the reforms, I would say that I've done a sort of a 1-hour speech on this, and even there I put like the first and most important reform is central bank independence. Because you see, we have had a primary budget surplus only 4 times in 75 years. I'm not even talking about fiscal deficit. Primary budget surplus. So that is minus the interest. We can't even balance that. That is how horrible our financial discipline is. So that is because of monetary financing and debt. So when you have a central bank, the monetary policy, which is controlled by fiscal policy, they just, printing money has been one thing. But if you ask me which reform should be prioritized more, so when it comes to the most important is CBS independence, but which should be, I should say, privatization, because that is something, because at a stroke of a pen, the Central Bank Act, everything can be brought out, but privatization is not easy to reverse.
So let me ask all 6 of you very quickly before we end the show tonight. A way forward for Sri Lanka. So I'll start off with Talal and then move to the other speakers.
So a message would be the reforms we are going through are brought in by the IMF. It's people are saying the IMF is imposing this, but if you read most of the whole document, most of these recommendations I myself have given in a talk a year ago, or Dr. W.A. Vijayawardena has given, or Nishant Dimel has said all this. So it's nothing new, it's just common sense. So this argument against the IMF, I always say, what is the alternative? There is no alternative. You're going to a surgeon, and you are being given the treatment, and the complaint is like the air conditioner is not working this much, or they didn't settle a fight between my neighbor over a wall. So those are not the I think we are going there because we have absolutely no other choice. So that is one message. Or the other thing is, I think that if we can wait this out and get the proper reforms, we can be a Thailand or an India. See, India has never gone back to the IMF for over 30 years. Because they did the right reforms. And even if you see
the 1994.
Yes, 1991 by
91,
Dr.
Yes, Dr. Manmohan Singh.
Yes. So even India, which has reserves of $600 billion, it's doing very well and growing at 7%, but still they have a national consensus on privatizing.
So when you